Hello YouTube, Fresh Mika here to give you guys my rant on the Nicktoons network. Now, I will admit, I still watch Nicktoons network to this day. But really, that's not really where my rant comes from. It is the fact that Nicktoons network has completely gotten rid of their classic Nicktoons, and now everything has to be watched on the 90s or on that which airs on Team Nick. Now, as we all know, the original point of Nicktoons Network was supposed to be the Nickelodeon version of Cartoon Network's Boomerang, which would air their classic Nicktoons from the 90s plus a few of their original programming. Although I don't remember if Boomerang started airing any original programs because it's been a while. Now, of course, Nicktoons aired the classic 90s shows, Ren and Stimpy, Cat Dog, Hey Arnold, the Angry Beavers, and so on and so forth. But as we know, if you look at Nicktoons Network now, it's more of the classic 2000s cartoons as compared to the 90s cartoons, which is why there was a huge demand for Nickelodeon to bring back the 90s cartoons and 90s sitcoms, although Nicktoons never aired any sitcoms to my knowledge. Now, even though we do have the 90s or all that, they still are kind of airing the same shows. You're really not going too far with a lot of the 90s cartoons. Kind of wish they would go back to at least airing like a different tune, or maybe an hour of a different Nicktoons every night. That would probably be a little bit better than airing the same one for like 2, 3, 4 days in a row. Now, Nicktoons. Nicktoons to me was especially where I would go to for my classic Nicktoons. I particularly watched the Nicktoons Network for Ren and Stimpy and Action League Now, because those were definitely two major cartoons of my childhood, I will admit honestly. And the fact that they did air Action League Now made me really happy, because it may have been very stupid, but I loved it as a little kid. It just kept me cracking up. And for the most part, I enjoyed what they did with the Nicktoons Network, just keeping the classics. It wasn't until a couple of years ago, I would say, at least for me, that I noticed that they kind of started catering more to their 2000s cartoons. And mind you, this is the same thing that Cartoon Network is doing the Boomerang now. And in all honesty, I don't like it going this way. Because I remember waiting on the weekends, one particular Saturday, where they would air Ren and Stimpy for 2 hours. Then they would air Action League Now, and then they would air Taking the Power of Juju. Which I actually will admit I did like Taking the Power of Juju. I guess a lot of people hated it, but I loved it. And then, as it got to be where it is now, they just stopped airing it. And I was kind of disappointed, because all of a sudden, out of the blue, it's gone. And that's just very sad to me, because it's like the purpose of your channel originally was dedicated to the classic Nicktoons. And I didn't mind you guys having a few of your own original programmings on there, but you definitely deferred away of what your channel was originally intended to do years ago. Now, nowadays, if you look at Nicktoons Network, you will see, of course, Dragon Ball Z Kai, which you guys can see in my Digimon video, how I kind of think Cartoon Network should get Kai, because they would, I guess, make it more mature in a way. And you'll see constant marathons of Tough Puppy, Back at the Barnyard, SpongeBob, Fairly Odd Parents, cartoons like that. You will see lots of versions of. And then you will see Avatar, Last Airbender, Legend of Korra, Planet Sheen actually got moved to Nicktoons Network. And that is something else I wanted to bring up, was the fact that if a show doesn't do too well on Nickelodeon, for instance, one of their cartoons, look at Planet Sheen and Fanboy and Chum Chum, then they would actually air new episodes on Nicktoons and move over there. Now, I don't know if Fanboy and Chum Chum has been canceled yet. I think there's something that said it has. But Planet Sheen, as far as I know, is still airing, at least for the most part. And I also believe that Robot and Monster, since that airs on Nicktoons Network now, will actually be officially moved there, where it will air the new episodes, because it's on a hiatus, so it's not canceled. They are also airing Panda Legends of Awesomeness. Basically, if you don't see it on Nickelodeon, either in the mornings, the afternoons, or on the weekends, then it is on Nicktoons Network itself. And of course, that's the only thing that bothers me, is that it's become a dumping ground for Nickelodeon's modern shows that don't perform all too well. Like, everybody hated Fanboy and Chum Chum. It annoyed me, but I didn't hate it for the most part. And this just become a dumping ground for all of these cartoons. And that just really disappoints me. Because it's the same thing, like I said, what they're doing to Boomerang. Is becoming a dumping ground. And not just for the cartoons that don't do well, but it's also becoming a dumping ground for all of the modern shows. In my opinion, for any classic network, unless it's something like TV Land, I would honestly wait till the show has been off the air. At least a good 5 to 10 years before airing it on a classic network. Because that does give it enough time to be considered at least a classic for the most part. But does Nick Network do that? In all honesty, no. I am happy they are airing Danny Phantom, because a lot of people really do miss that show, and I miss it too when I do watch it. But as far as just making it just a dumping ground, it's just horrible. I also kind of do and what annoyed with the fact that they are airing a couple of their live action shows on Nicktoons Network and starting to play a lot of live action movies on there. That is very annoying because, of course, you know, Nicktoons Network, hello, the name, Nicktoons Network, it really just bothers me. And I guess if Nickelodeon can do it, Nicktoons can do it too. And to add in more to this, I noticed that Nicktoons started falling down even worse after Nickelodeon completely got rid of Nick Gas and split Noggin and the end until Nick Jr. and Teen Nick. I noticed that's when it really started going down. And of course, you know, I miss Nick Gas as well, because classic childhood classics. I don't know why in the world what's up with Nickelodeon these days. But as far as Nicktoons, that is the only reason, guys, in all honesty, we do have the 90s are. It's because Nickelodeon decided to make Nicktoons Network a dumping ground for 2000s cartoons. The only ones that are airing on there that I actually would have not minded if it still would have remained the classic Nicktoons that they aired was Jimmy Neutron, because Jimmy Neutron, the movie came out in 2000 and the show came out a couple of years later. So it would have been about around the time in which it would have been right for it to air. And like I said, I don't mind Danny Phantom airing on there because Nickelodeon didn't give that show too much justice that it needed. But, well, guys, this is it for my Nicktoons rant. I honestly wish that Nickelodeon would have kept it classic. And I hate to say it, but Cartoon Network is following behind their example by dumping all of their 2000s shows on their shows who should not even be airing on their channel yet. But you guys will have to see that for my Boomerang rant. Alright, everybody, Fresh Mick out.